Hey, what's up, everybody? So, right now, you guys are going to jump into your CR paragraph. Before you do, I wanted to give you some quick instructions, and I think um, this is based off of what I've been seeing in some of the answers. And first things first, I want you to remember, like this CR paragraph is your exit ticket, and it's actually what is worth the most out of the entire slides, out of the entire presentation. So please, let's make sure that we are paying attention and we are following the CER. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question. This is from last week's assignment. And so just model my thinking. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is read the question. In your opinion, what do you believe we should do as a country to avoid a civil war? So the criteria for success says a claim that restates the question and proposes a way to be more united as a country. So what I'm going to do is restate the question. So, in your opinion, I would say, in my opinion. And it says, what do you believe? I would say, I believe that in, and then at this point, I'm like, okay, so what words can I use? Because right now, this is where things start getting a little tricky. I can't say, I believe that we should, to avoid a civil war, do something else. It sounds kind of weird, right? So I'm going to say, I believe that in order to avoid a civil we should, and I'm gonna put dot 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 dot. All right. So this is what all of your claims should have. Right. In my opinion, I believe that in order to avoid a civil war, we should show more empathy towards people who have different political opinions and begin to have conversations, right? All right, so this is pretty much the claims that I want y'all to have, all right? This is something that I would say a lot of us are doing a good job on, but also a lot of us are struggling with. So I want to make sure that you have a, uh, a claim that restates a question, takes words from the actual question and turns them into a statement. All right, so background information. The next thing that we're going to have is this is asking background information about how and why the country is divided. All right, so in this section, I'm going to go back to our notes about why and how our country is divided. So I'm going to go to this video, and I remember, oh yeah, they're talking about how right now Republicans and Democrats are not really working together. There's also violent groups such as Antifa and the Three Percenters, which when you all start doing your work, this is where you're going to find the answers, right? So to go back to my questions, I'd also see here that we're also divided about COVID-19. And yeah, so let's go back. So today, our country is divided because both political parties are not working together. We have the rise of left wing and right wing groups such as Antifa and the Three Percenters who are committing acts of violence towards each other. And then lastly, and kind of we cannot agree on how to respond to COVID-19. All right, so this right here, I'm just going to split it up just so you can see my claim, my background information. I would say this is the area in which most of us need to spend a little bit more time on, getting your claim and your background information just like really strong. All right, and so, all right, and then so now we're going to move on to the next section, which is evidence that proves why you believe your proposal is correct. And so, like the first thing that I think about as I'm like, all right, what would be good evidence just to show that like we need to have more empathy to people who have different political opinions and begin to have conversations. I think about like one that is not showing that, and that first one is this one right here, where it says one protester says we're not New York, their problems are not our problems. We're rallying around our government and our state to encourage the opening of our businesses and the restorations of our state in a timely fashion. I'm like, that is a perfect example of not having empathy, of people like not willing to have conversations and just taking care of like, or just worrying about themselves. But this other one over here, this chart, like as I'm looking at it, pretty much what I'm seeing is that overall, like most Americans are kind of in agreement that, you know, we should be having a COVID-19 shutdown or a quarantine. And it makes me think, well, maybe if there was conversations between Democrats, independents, and Republicans about um, just like what we want, like maybe we might be able to work together and come to a conclusion that works for most people. And so I think I'm going to use this as evidence, okay? And so as I'm going to go back, I am going to start setting it up. All right. So in the chart, and I'm going to try to get the name of it. I'm also going to underline it. So in the chart, which is named Americans Widely Support National Quarantine. Americans widely support national quarantine to contain COVID-19. I'm going to underline it just so people know this is the name of the article or the chart in this case. I'm going to capitalize this stuff. Then here, obviously, we can't quote it, but we can kind of paraphrase it. A majority of Americans support the national quarantine, comma, actually no, I don't need comma, in fact. And then just to be very specific, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to give data. All right. And so if I look at this, we have 81% of Democrats. All right. So I'm going to go back just so I don't forget. 81% of Democrats. And then now let's find the next one. And the next one is independents. And they were a little bit lower, but it's still a majority. So they're at 69%. Independents. And let's go back to our Republicans. And Republicans is 72. Percent of Republicans support it. All right, cool. So there's our evidence. But if I was just showing this evidence, right, it doesn't necessarily show that like we should have more empathy, right? So one thing that I was seeing a lot of people would do is, but this shows that we need to have empathy, right? I would say that doesn't necessarily show it. Now I have to explain how does it show it, right? So let's start off with this shows that most Americans actually have similar views, and if given the opportunity to speak, they would actually work well together to find solutions that work for everyone. All right. And I think another piece of evidence, like, right, this is just kind of like the minimum requirement, but I did have some students who chose two pieces of evidences. And another one could be that New York one, right? It's like right now, a lot of people are being selfish, but we kind of want the same thing. And so in your CR paragraphs, like the expectation is that you're writing something about this length, all right? Long sentences, long thoughts, but just giving strong opinions, okay? All right, y'all. So good luck with your CR paragraph, and I can't wait to read them.